So I wanted to do a video on frame alignment, but I thought it might be a good idea to do a bit of a primer on what frame alignment actually is and what actually happens at the wheels when the frame is out of alignment. So in order to illustrate this, what I've done is I've drawn some chalk lines on my faceplate here, and I've got a couple of wheels, and what we're going to do is we're going to put the wheels on the line that puts them both perfectly in track with each other, and that's basically where we want it to be, the back wheel exactly following the front wheel. One of the first things you should make sure with a set of wheels is that they are both perfectly in dish and true. And so what happens if the wheels are slightly out of dish? Well, imagine that one wheel is slightly out of dish one way and the other wheel slightly out of dish the other way. So the line that the front wheel follows will shift slightly over to one side, and the line that the rear wheel's following will shift slightly over to the other side. So we'll get a gap between the two lines that the wheels are following. So they're not following exactly the same lines anymore. And then if we take that a stage further and we have a bit of error in the dropouts, so where the dropouts are on the back of the frame, each dropout has to be equally spaced from the center plane of the frame. Well, if it's slightly over to one side, and again same with the forks, we're going to end up with another gap. And so again, the wheels are not going to be following the exact same line. So if we take it a stage further again, it's the length of the fork blades next. So if one fork blade is slightly longer than the other, it will skew the wheel over a little bit to one side, and then it will move the contact patch out a little bit further. So then we've got an even bigger gap between the contact patch at the back and the contact patch at the front. And so we can do the same thing on the back. So again, if the frame is slightly out, so this time if the seat stays, one is slightly longer than the other, then again it will put the wheel at a slight angle, and the gap in between will get bigger again. Now obviously I'm exaggerating the width of this gap and the angles of these wheels, but that's just for illustration purposes. So finally, the last possibility is that the chainstays have a discrepancy in their length, and what that'll do is actually turn the back wheel slightly inwards or outwards. In this case I'm pointing it outwards, and that means that it definitely won't be following the same line as the front. I mean, it'll no longer be even parallel to the front. It can cause all number of problems, such as not being able to take your hands off the handlebars or the bike pulling to one side. So I hope you found that useful, and if you've got any questions, please put them in the comments. So the wheel tracking is really the sort of end game of what we're looking for when we're aligning the frame, and I think this is something that has been a bit lost on some frame builders, judging by some of the frames that I get through the workshop, which have a lot of issues, and though on the surface they may have the dropouts aligned to the center line of the frame, and often we get the tilt in the wheel, which, as you've seen, makes a huge difference at the wheels. In the next video I'm going to go through my alignment process and show you how I managed to keep both wheels in track, which, to be honest, I think is really the important thing. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.